Okay, got it.
Okay, so we're calling the meeting to order at 3:06. Adopting the
Sorry.
agenda as it was submitted. And is there any public comment? Seeing none. Let's do the minutes. Get that out of the way. Any comments about the minutes for May 28th?
No. Nope.
No.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Okay.
Georgia,
I'll second.
seconded by Jeanette. All those in favor?
Aye.
Mary Beth?
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Aye. All unanimous.
And there's another set of minutes, Vicky, too. There's April
April.
minutes. We didn't approve them at the last meeting.
Okay, so for the April, what day in April?
It was April. Good question. Let me see. April 29th, Mickey.
Okay, so is there any discussion about the April 29th minutes?
No.
Nope.
Now, motion to approve the minutes by Georgia,
Sure, I'll do that.
I'll second it.
seconded by Mary Beth. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. And Augie's there. Is he saying aye?
He is. I
Okay,
don't know what he's doing, but yes.
all right. So we're all in favor of that. Okay. Moving on to new business, we're going to review the variance request for 1 Cambridge Street. And I'm going to let Matt take it over from here.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So I don't know if everyone's got the application in front of them.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry, Matt. Let me interrupt you. I need to read the
All this, the written political stuff?
yes. Okay, this is Mickey Rowland, Chair of the Nantucket Commission on Disability. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Mary Beth,
Present.
Augie,
Present.
Jeanette,
Here?
Georgia, you there?
Oh, here.
Georgia?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, and I'm here, and Brenda, staff member Brenda McDonough, are you
I'm
here?
here. Yep.
Okay, so this open meeting of Commission on Disabilities being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021. For this meeting, the Commission on Disabilities meeting convening by video conference via Zoom app has posted on the town's website identifying how the public may join. Note this meeting is being recorded and each vote will be taken by roll call. Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Matt.
Okay, thank you. Would you prefer I shared my screen?
Yes.
I attended an HDC meeting about a month ago, and I was physically at the meeting, but then they asked if I could share my screen, and I did. And for like 5 seconds, I had an email up regarding something that wasn't meant for everybody. It was regarding some volunteer work I did. And, anyway, somebody took a snapshot of it and put it all over the internet. Thankfully, it wasn't anything embarrassing, but it's you just got to be careful when you
Wow.
share your screens. So, okay, so if everyone's, I don't know if anyone's had a chance to kind of review the application request prior. But this is for 1 Cambridge Street, just to kind of get everyone's, this used to be the old chocolate shop. I think it was called Sweet Inspirations.
Yes. Okay, it was.
And the building itself is, it's basically, it's one building, but if you look at it architecturally, it looks like it's actually 2 buildings that are literally just kind of attached at the rear section of the buildings. One section is a brick historic structure. It's dates like mid-19th century. I think it's like 1850, 1860. That's this area here. And then there's this wood frame structure that's attached to it that faces onto India Street. The scope of the work that we are proposing is to basically, kind of open up the floor plan on the first floor, essentially demolish this wood frame section and rebuild it. and rebuild it differently. We did receive HTC approval for this revision. As far as the brick structure is concerned, because it's a historic, really interesting, wonderful building, we're really not making any significant changes to it other than, basically improvements, trying to redo the historic details that have since been removed, replacing the windows, adjusting the trim, repointing brick where we need to. So this brick section essentially is staying intact. We really didn't have the ability to alter it, nor did we ask to, just because I didn't think we'd ever, we don't want to. Probably HTC wouldn't let us do it anyway. So this portion of the building is staying intact.
How old is the other portion that you're going to take down or change?
I think some portions of it dated to, early 20th century, I would say, but it had been added on to a number of times over the years. So there wasn't as much historic reverence for it.
That's what I thought. Just wanted to check. Yeah. Okay.
So the other complication, and this may not be relevant to your purview per se, but just kind of give you the long and short of it too, is we did request a historic determination primarily. So this portion of the building, the brick section, did not have to comply with the floodplain. There is a small section of the property that is clipped by a flood zone, if you will. We just kind of creep into it. So it's not a high risk flood zone at all, but because one portion of the property is clipped by it, we actually have to design this first floor, this section over here, which is fully accessible. It's actually technically the first finished floor will be below the floodplain. So we have to do waterproofing up to, I think it's just about like 2 feet total on this newer section. Now, the reason we got the historic determination wasn't for accessibility or anything like that. It was more about non-compliance regarding the floodplain for this section of the building. Because it's historic, in order to retrofit it to make it essentially flood proof up to the floodplain elevation, we would have to do extensive demolition, reworking, et cetera, et cetera. And so there's provisions in the building code that says if we get historic determination, we don't have to comply with the floodplain. So just to give you a little bit of background on that. But the reason I tell you that is that was one of the things that we were really challenged by in terms of providing accessibility for this reframed wood portion over here. So the only thing that we're requesting is basically this existing doorway is, I think it's about 7 inches. The threshold, this entrance is not accessible. And it's a pure function of the building just being existing, historic, and not wanting to, cut into it or drop it. And we didn't ask the HDC. So that's really the only thing that we're asking for. The primary entrance is accessible. We're not even really required to have this second means as long as our occupant load is less than 50, which I think it would be, but it's an existing entrance. So that, I believe, is all we were requesting relief from. So this is the existing footprint or floor plan of the building. Again, here's the existing entrance. Again, all of this section is slated to be demolished. This is the new proposed layout. And so this is intended to be like a really intimate small bar, and then a small little bistro, if you will. Very, very small kitchen, as you can see. But we're going to take full advantage of the interior woodwork and framing in this section here. So again, this is the existing entrance that is not being changed or moved. None of the fenestration on these two sides are being altered. This is our accessible entrance. This is the primary entrance, I would say. I mean, if you're coming to the bar, you'll probably come through here. But this is the new section, and so this is fully compliant. We have an accessible toilet, and the building elevation. So the finished floor elevation of this section of the building that we're rebuilding is lower than this section here. And I think that change is somewhere in the range of 7 or 8 inches. And so this was also something we really struggled with, but so that there's full accessibility to the structure, to the entire, to the bar area, it's via an internal ramp, 1 in 12 ramp here. So here's your entry, bistro, call this private function, but kind of a smaller table, if you will, accessible toilet, and then access into the bar area. I think that's pretty much, again, this is the existing, that's the new. This is the accessible entrance. And so the whole function of being below the floodplain, we would have preferred to have leveled the floors, been above the floodplain, but we wouldn't have, there's no easy way to provide accessibility at public entrance. So that's what we did. There's an apartment above on the second floor above this new section. That's an exterior stair, but it's just a single family unit. So this is the existing brick entrance, and you can see that it's probably less than 7 inches here, actually. We're very, very close, but this is the non-accessible entrance. The red indicates the areas of demolition. We're going to replace the window sash, do some window, rake, detailing to make it more reflective of the original structure. There it is there. So that's the section here we're seeking relief from, because it is going to be a public entrance. So in the interest of not babbling too much, I'll probably stop there, Mr. Chair. If there's any questions, feel free to
Matt,
fire
could
away.
you just go back to that floor plan page with the green? Okay, so you have 2 requests. Can you just run through the request number 1 and request number 2, technically speaking, just so we know we're covering this properly?
Sure. I'm trying to think what the other request was.
It was, Matt,
I actually,
yeah, we requested 25.1, right? And
yeah,
20.11, and for 2 means of egress.
gotcha.
But it says existing exit door number 2 cannot be made accessible for reasons stated in request number 1 regarding section 25.1. 2 means of egress are required from the restaurant per code based on the occupant load. Therefore, at least 2 accessible means of egress are required per 521 CMR section 20.11.1. Okay.
Right. So sorry. So the second means of egress is required. Actually, we did a version of this where it wasn't. So I apologize for that. So it is the second means of egress as well.
Is there an apartment over either of these buildings now?
Excuse me?
Is there an apartment over these buildings now, either one?
Yeah, there is. It's kind of a mixed use. This is the existing first floor.
Yep.
Thanks for that, Mickey and Brenda. So it's commercial really on this side of the building. Oddly enough, the right side of the building is an apartment, and there are second floor spaces. You can see them here, but you have trouble standing up in these areas. So
Okay.
it's not necessarily on the second floor per se. Portions of it are. Most of it's on the first floor.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two requests. The first is because there's a step up to exit number 2, which is this entrance or exit at the bottom of the page. And the second request is because you're required to have 2 accessible means of egress, and you're really only providing 1.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So just my initial take on the layout of this building is that you've got sort of isolated sections. You've got the bar on the lower side, and you've got the kind of the restaurant space above. The main entrance is in the restaurant space above up onto India Street. And the lower bar section, I assume that door will be used quite frequently as an entrance to the bar area, correct?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, it's kind of hard to imagine now because it's not a very active street, but if somebody wanted to go just to the bar, I could see them using that entrance. So yeah, I think it's going to get used for sure.
Is it safe to say that the restaurant will sort of sell the front door as the primary entrance being on India Street, and that will kind of be another entrance, but not like have the big sign up front, sort of walk in here, that kind of an entrance?
Yeah, there'll probably be a sign on the bar side, but the primary entrance, I'm just going to get to the elevation. We really designed the building to face here. So this is really where we see, it's going to get the most exposure where, the public entrance would be.
Mhm. Okay, and then back to that floor plan, if you could, please, Matt. So my only concern with this, I think this is, I think you've done a nice job
Let's see here.
fitting these spaces together, and it's going to be it'll be a nice function and use. It's unfortunate that you can't get both entrances accessible, but I get it. It would be a real challenge. My only concern would be going into the future. If for any reason in 10 or 15 or who knows how many years, somebody said, I don't want to use this as one building, I want to use it as two separate spaces, then they start to isolate the two areas, and we've lost the accessible entrance to the lower bar area space. So my only concern is that I would like to make the approval conditional that the Brenda, I sent that something to you. Now I can't.
Yeah. I'll read, Mickey.
I got it here.
Okay,
Just the interior of the proposed establishment shall not be divided into two separate uses in order to maintain accessibility throughout the entire space. Period. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, that makes sense. And they'd obviously have to lose the accessible ramp, but I think that's totally fine.
Yeah, and I can't imagine why there would be any concern from the owner's point of view. They clearly intend to use it as one space.
Yeah,
So
I don't see them selling. Everyone always says that, but that's totally fine. I think it makes sense.
Yeah. All right, so I want to open it up to anybody else that has any comments or questions. Anybody out there?
So is the floor going to be on India Street? Is that what I'm hearing? Where on the little curvy kind of thing?
Is the entrance? Yeah, we'll be on India right here.
Okay, thank you.
That's the primary entrance.
Okay, anybody else have any thoughts, questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
So would the bathroom be able to fit like a big wheelchair like mine?
It would.
would.
Yep. Well, we studied that, and 100%.
All right.
It's a code compliant 36-inch front door, correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And what is the width of the back door there, Matt? Do you know?
Off the top of my head, I don't. I want to say it's. I could probably find that out, but it'd probably take me a few minutes to find out. But I think it's definitely. It's actually not. I want to say it's at least 210, and it might be 30. But sorry, but I don't have that information with me.
Not sure that it's relevant, so that's okay. Brenda, do you have any comments?
no, I don't.
All right.
I actually have a question. I don't know the answer. Do you have to have 2 points of accessible egress for like fire code, or just one?
That's actually where I was initially. We were not going to be over the 50. So the trigger for 2 means of egress, and the building is going to be fire protected. It's going to have a fire suppression system. And generally with, if your occupant load is under 50, which a lot of the occupant studies that we had done were under 50. So it would only require 1, but I do think that we're required 2 at this point. But I think the second variance was specifically because it requires 2 accessible entrances. Or egress, forms of egress. So the answer to the question is, I think, yes, that they both are required.
Is there going to be signage on both doors, at both doors?
We haven't applied to the sign advisory committee.
Yeah. I just wondered if they were going to be different,
I would think so. I think that the primary signage would be on the India Street side.
Right.
And we actually, the design of the facade of the building sort of keeps moving around here, but we anticipate the name of the establishment to be just in the center section, this entablature.
Right.
It's funny, the HTC review process, they asked us we had submitted historic photographs of Hardee's, hardware. And so this entablature is, you know, it emulates their detail. And their signage was actually in this entablature. And so that's where our primary signage will be. But I would definitely say that on the backside,
Right.
you know, we would probably have some kind of small, like some kind of hanging sign, I'm guessing.
Right.
So.
Okay.
But all of that is subject to the sign advisory committee.
Could I see the inside again, the where the egress is, where they come in?
Sure.
On the
So I just
inside
want
of
to
the
show you this.
building?
So this brick side, so that I kind of
Yeah.
envision some kind of small hanging
Right.
sign over here.
Right, okay. That's the back, right? That was the back?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So people are gonna come in to a foyer
Mhm.
and then and so these two, the lounge and the private function areas are where people will go basically for the bistro kind of thing?
Yeah. So if you're gonna dine, and it's not, you can see the size of the kitchen's pretty
Yeah.
small. So
Right.
it's gonna be a fairly limited menu, but the
Right.
overall intent or vibe for the interior or the concept is, you know, the kind of like dark, you know, kind of warmer colors, really limited menu, but so yeah, if you come in, we have a little bit of space here for a host, and depending where they want to do, if they want to do like the sit down, it would be in here. And by the way, this we call this private function. The
Yeah.
truth is, most restaurateurs prefer to have some kind of like a private, quote, like a PDR, a private dining room, if you will. But I'd anticipate this will probably be most of the time filled with, you know, tables, but just offers the flexibility. But if they want to go to the bar, they can go hang out at the bar.
Go down the hall, okay.
So,
Yeah.
and again, that was a challenging part for us, is in order to make this entrance accessible,
Right.
it necessitated that we have an internal ramp, which the ramp obviously, you know, eats up a good amount of space, but
Right.
we kind of worked on this in a way where it kind of serves double duty. It's like a hallway connecting the two structures, if you will, but it also provides us the accessibility for the entire space.
Right. Okay.
Hey, man, I do have a question about the accessible toilet room.
Mhm.
The door, you know, there's the clearance to the pole side of the door. And is that's fine the way it is there? I'm not sure. It's in a sort of a little alcove or a recess, but normally you have 18
The
inches,
12
12
The
inches.
12 inches. Yeah, and I think it might be on an automatic. I'll have to look at that, but I know Josh is away, but I know he's incredibly thorough. So it says I don't know. So yeah, it's usually like a pull area there, but I can actually, and it's also, we've got actually a larger plan here too. So to answer your question, I'm fairly confident. Oh, here you go. Signature. There it is.
Automatic door opener.
Yeah, automatic door opener. Yep.
Okay.
Uh,
And that's on the plan. So that'll be part of the approval, right?
yeah. This is part of the submission.
Mhm.
Yep. Okay. Works for me.
I have one question, going back to Mary Beth's. I want to make sure I got this correct about, does this building require two means of egress per the fire code? And Matt, are you saying yes, it did, or no, it didn't? I wasn't sure how you answered that.
I'm going to say yes,
Okay,
because the accessibility part of it, it wouldn't, I think if only one was required. But I'm going to say yes.
okay.
I'm gonna suggest that we make sure that it has got what we want before we can vote contingent on finding out that, yes, it does have the questions answered by you, Brenda, and Mickey.
Well,
On the egress,
On whatever, Mickey just asked a question about something, and I thought that was very good, and I don't want to give an approval if it isn't going to be enacted.
yeah, Jeanette,
Sure.
I kind of agree. So I think what I'm going to do at this point is say that I'll phrase a sort of a vote for approval conditional on two things. The first being what I read earlier, the statement about the space not being separated into different uses. And the second condition being that the accessible toilet room which it says it'll meet 521 CMR, to include an automatic opening closing device for the door.
I concur, thank you.
That's the second condition.
Okay.
The other question, Matt, which you may not be able to answer, but are they going to do music there, do you know, or not? Because I'm thinking of, what is it, that Gaslight? They have so
Yeah.
many people now, so you're saying 50 people, but I'm not really sure that that's going to be a limit.
Well, there's a minimum, the occupancy calculation is a function of the available square footage of the floor plan that's open to the public. And you can apply a square foot, an amount of square footage per occupant, depending on the intensity of the use. So for example, so to answer your, I guess the roundabout way of saying, the space is so small, the fire code and the building code limit how many occupants you can have in this building. And I know that we were right on that like 50 mark, but I think that we've applied in a way that would allow us to go over 50, but there is definitely a cap. It wouldn't be much more than that. It was more likely like 60 or something like that. And it's a function of these available areas that are open to the public. And basically it's either 5 square feet, 7 square feet, or 15 square feet. 15 square feet is usually what's per occupant is what's used for seating, tables and chairs. 7 square feet is kind of like semi-flex space where you have the ability to move tables and chairs and something that's going to be removed. 5 square feet is if it's like standing room only, chicken box kind of density, if you will. We rarely, if ever, apply a 5 square feet per occupant. We usually are the most conservative to go like 7 square feet. So given that, just with these square footage numbers, that we would never legally be allowed to have more than, like I said, it's probably over 50, but not more than 60.
Your narrative, Matt, says use with a maximum occupant load of 60 persons.
There you go.
Yep.
Answered one thing.
Well, it sounds like when they built the gazebo and opened it up, they weren't thinking that they were going to have that many people. And now you can't barely get in that area with so many people. So my concern is that if we get overcrowded and have a fire or anything like that, so.
Well,
Thank you.
It's funny because we've done a lot of occupant feasibility or occupant load studies for restaurants going back when this issue had come up. And historically, Nantucket really, you're supposed to actually post the maximum number of people in a public space. It's supposed to be publicly posted and it's an agreed upon number. Probably like 5-6 years ago, we went through this whole thing. We did that for a lot of restaurants. Ironically, the person who owns the gazebo had reached out to me recently because I think that the fire department has gone in and they do checks with all these different restaurants. And now most restaurants now do post how many occupants they're allowed to have. So it's something that's on everyone's radar. It's what the code dictates. And there is basically a very kind of specific limit in terms of how many people are allowed to be in that space.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm going to just sort of rephrase what I said earlier, and then we'll take a vote on this. I'll state it myself, and then I'll ask someone to make the motion. But this is to approve the variance, the 2 variance requests. One being 25.1, and the other being 20.1 or 20.11.1. You already know what those are about. We've discussed them in detail. So, and they're conditional on single use for the entire building and the accessible bathroom being supplied with a automatic door opener. So can I have somebody to
Make that motion.
Jeanette's making the motion, seconded by
I'll second it.
Mary Beth. All those in favor? Is there a discussion on that?
I just want to say something. You said that it's conditional with single use for the entire building, really the single use for the first level, correct?
Well, thank you. Correct that. Yep, for the first level. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda.
No problem.
All right, so motion's made, and seconded. All those in favor, I'm gonna take a roll call here. Mary Beth,
Aye.
Augie,
Aye.
Jeanette,
Aye.
Georgia,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. So we're good. Thank you,
All
man.
right, thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Appreciate it.
Matt, the variance request is gonna be reviewed by the AAB on Monday, is that correct?
I believe so. I think
Yeah,
what
that's
it's
what
scheduled for.
Josh had said, okay, in his
Yeah.
email, so I'll make sure that the letter goes out like first thing tomorrow morning. Or I'll get it out today, actually, okay?
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. I can leave, but I was wondering if there's any, I had some updated information. I'm gonna stop sharing there. Regarding the Brandt Hotel. And I don't know if this is the appropriate venue, but we've kind of talked with them and come up with what we think is a feasible or a potential feasible strategy and pathway forward. I don't know if that's something we want to discuss now, or if you want me to discuss it with like Brenda and Mickey informally. Really up to you. I don't want to put them at any risk, but we've reviewed it. Like I said, we really weren't involved in the previous. Well, I guess we were, but we thought that they kind of had everything under control. Clearly, they didn't, as it relates to the width of the doorways. And so they've asked us to take a more active role in strategizing about, the phase 2. So I don't know if that's something we want to discuss now, or really at your discretion.
That's gonna come. Are we gonna see this again as another variance request?
Yes.
Do you have any idea when?
Well, I'd like to do it as soon as possible. That's why I've kind of really encouraged them to get a game plan together. And it's probably not going to be for, I'd say, at least a month or more. And obviously a big part of this is your feedback and kind of getting everybody familiar with what we're trying to do and go from there. So you're really the first step. They have not put any formal application together at this point. It's just, we had a roundtable meeting with myself, Josh, TJ, and from Bergmeyer. And we've made some suggestions to them, which I think is, basically the general gist of it is we're trying to basically offer more accessibility to offset some of the portions of the structure that may not be compliant. But again, you tell me how you'd like to proceed.
I think because this has some history to it, and it's a pretty complex issue, and I don't even remember the details. I think it would take a while to bring everybody, including myself, up to speed on what's going on there. I think I'd sort of rather handle it, unless anybody objects, I'd sort of rather handle it like we have in the past, where you submit sort of preliminary information to Brenda and I, and we'll digest it and sort of either meet to review that or wait for the actual application.
Okay.
Unless anybody really wants to know more about it at this point.
I thought the thing we were concerned about was the way the doors were opening in the hotel or the building.
It was the door width. Basically, they changed out the door style and frames, and they weren't compliant doors. And
Right.
so the second they moved them, they should have, widened them, and they didn't. And in their mind, they thought that they didn't need to. I think we've determined that that was incorrect. And so they've got a number of doorways in what we call them 6 and 8, building 6 and 8, that are non-compliant. And they are going to be building out or doing an addition to for Dolphin Court, which is the building in the back, and that actually has an accessible unit in it. And so they're basically trying to figure out how to move forward to get a collective approach. So that's the general situation, if you will. So we've kind of made some suggestions, to them. We've got those on paper in the form of floor plans, but I do agree with you, Mickey. It might be helpful just to kind of run through the full set and say, look at here's where we are now. Here's what we would, what we are proposing. And like I said, I think that, I don't know, I think it would be a net benefit. But so you tell me, I'd love to,
Matt, why don't you just send the plans to Brenda and I? We can distribute them if everybody's interested, but I kind of like to look through them first before just getting a kind of verbal description of them.
yeah, 100%. And if you want, I can, because it would be, it might be helpful to kind of look at them together. We could either do it as a Zoom. I don't know if, and I can also meet you in person too, if that helps.
All right. I'm on the island for the month, so I could. meet
Oh,
in
cool.
person If needed.
All right. Let's get a meeting.
That's right. A real meeting.
While you're here.
Yeah.
You tell me. I'm around. This week was a little crazy, but I'll probably just. How about I email you both, you and Brenda, and maybe I'll just throw out some times. But if there's are there times of the day that work better or worse for anybody?
It's gonna be hit or miss. I think you just
Okay.
just throw something out and we'll see if we can do it.
Okay. And next week work.
Sure.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm gonna be gone Monday and Tuesday next week and coming back Wednesday morning. So other than that, Matt, I'm totally around the rest of the time, the rest of the month.
So I'll target, if it's okay with both of you, I'll target from Wednesday to Friday of next week.
Sounds good.
Awesome. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Matt.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Matt.
Ciao.
See ya.
Yeah.
Is there any other business, Brenda? Are there any updates you want to talk about?
No, I guess was just like the galley beach accessible parking spaces. And I think the pops went off very well.
It did.
Did anybody attend?
I
No.
did. I did.
So tell me, Augie, what did you think?
I thought it was really good.
Good. Did
Yeah.
you use the transportation provided by the hospital? Did you transport, were you transported in a private vehicle?
On our own vehicle.
Okay, great. Did you sit in
Okay.
the section with the accessible platform?
Yeah,
How was that?
good.
Good.
Yeah,
Was it well attended?
yeah, it was.
Awesome.
So Augie, I've got a question for you. So you, or I assume Mary Beth, you were probably there too, but did you drive all the way up to the I guess the boardwalk that leads to the platform where you sat?
Well,
I wasn't there, but go ahead.
yeah,
Okay,
I was there with my dad. Everything was good. The ramp was fine.
okay, so he could drop you off, or somebody could drop you off right there, and then they had to go park their car.
No. We parked we parked our van. There's a handicap spot provided, like in somebody's, like their
Private driveway.
35 Halbert Avenue?
private driveway. So
Yeah,
we just
Okay,
walked down there. We just rode down there 2 jetties.
all right,
awesome.
Yeah, and I just went on the side of the street. That was fine.
perfect.
Yeah,
Good, glad you could make it.
yeah,
Um,
that's what I did.
all right, anything else, Brenda? We good? No other updates, nothing else? Quiet summer.
I
Okay.
don't know, it's
Are
quiet.
are you
but-
doing any permitting? Renewals of handicap stickers and whatever those are called?
Yeah, so,
They're-
so the way I've been doing it, and actually what we could do, and with the way I've been doing it, Jeanette, since COVID, and we haven't been meeting in person, is that if I get a disabled parking permit application, I call Mickey and I call Georgia and I get their approval of the disabled parking permits.
Okay,
What I could do, if it's close to a meeting time and I have them, what I could do, since this is being recorded, I can stop the recording, then we can go into executive session. But we've been meeting infrequently and
Right.
I don't want someone to have to wait 2 months for a disabled parking permit, especially if it's a temporary, it doesn't matter, just wouldn't want someone to have to wait that long, so that's typically how I do it is, I get both of their approvals.
good. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
George is always home, Mickey's always by the phone. Mickey picks up your calls, put it that way, So it makes
I
it
do.
easy for me, right, Mickey?
I tried to.
Yeah, you do. If he sees I'm calling, he picks up.
Of course, absolutely.
Augie's placard expires in December. Do I have to, I know what the state.
You don't have to do anything, Mary Beth, you're
Oh.
good.
That's great.
You're good.
What? We don't have to do anything.
Oh,
Again,
oh.
I love not doing anything.
Okay, there you go. All right. I can take care of that one for you.
How do we get the Massachusetts one?
It just showed up.
The Massachusetts one too?
Yeah,
What about the Ontario one?
it's gonna show up.
Both of them?
Brenda's gonna make it show up.
All right, both of them?
We already got the Massachusetts one.
Oh.
There you go.
Did you find it? Did you get the ramp, Brenda?
Oh, no, I'm gonna pick them up tomorrow. I'll pick it up tomorrow. I got, and that's one thing I can say about, maybe a little of an update. The ramps have been so incredibly popular. I had to buy an extra 10-foot ramp in June because that would make 4 10-foot ramps that we have, because they were all out. And even now, like, people come to the island and they find out about it. I don't know if they just Google it and they find out about us. I don't know exactly how. I know it's on our webpage and everything on the town
And you know
website.
what else? It's in the guidebook.
In the guidebook.
Someone
yeah,
left
but-
a guidebook at my house and I read it and it's
Yeah.
in there that you have this and that and the other.
Yeah. But
That's probably
what
what's
happens is people that come this year,
Yeah.
okay, now they're going to come back next year, they're repeat
Oh.
visitors. So now they already know about the ramp, so the ramp is just even more popular. There was someone that called me on 2 Spindrift and he said his sister-in-law was coming in. I saw that you have the ramps. I went and ramped his house. Then Harvey Young calls me yesterday. He's having a person stay with him and they're in a wheelchair. And he saw the wheelchairs, he saw the ramps at 2 Spindrift, and he went up to the house and asked them about the ramps. They said, "Oh, all you have to do is call Brenda McDonough. She'll help you out." So he gave him, so the guy, his name was Matt, gave Harvey Young my cell phone number. So Harvey called my cell phone, my home, work, emailed me, and he wanted to make sure he got a hold of me.
Wow.
I'm picking up all the ramps tomorrow. I got about 4 or 5 out there and I'm dropping some off to Harvey, but they,
How do you do that? Aren't they heavy?
yeah, they are.
They are.
Do
Do you get help? Do you have somebody with you, Brenda?
You know what? I can manage the 10-foot ramps are 65 pounds and I can manage with the dolly. I have it down pretty well. It's really very, it's great. So, yeah,
And you get extra pay for that, right?
yeah, I do, Jeanette. Yeah, that's bonus.
LOL.
But I'm just gonna say, like, we get so much positive feedback from those ramps, and we really do. And I always say it's a courtesy of the town of Nantucket and the Commission on Disability. Yeah, and they said there's no place else that they ever visit or go to that has a service like this. So I just think it's a really
you.
valuable service.
Good for you.
It's been fantastic. My mother's 100, so we were having, getting her in and out of the house and places. We had it at my house first, and then when she moved to her house, we moved it up there. So she was able to get in and out much easier. It was much better.
Right.
Great, it's been fantastic. Now we're planning for 101st birthday at this point because it keeps on.
Wow. Wow.
Well, it's not till February, but it took us 6 months last time, so we'll have to see. She's fine, actually, so
Good. That's great.
it is.
Princess Elizabeth, Queen
I
Elizabeth.
know, I
died.
saw that. Yeah, just
I
died.
She died.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just died.
I saw this morning that she wasn't, that everyone was
Right.
saying,
Yep.
70 years, they said this is the only queen or, king, but that they've known for 70 years, the country of England.
She was,
A lot of
I think she was in 52 was when she was, I wanted to say ordained, but that's not what I meant, so.
Yeah,
you know what I-
crowned.
Crowned, she was crowned, yeah,
that's,
I forgot the word, but anyway,
I
yeah.
I remember
Coronation.
that, seeing it on the TV.
I had,
wedding,
somebody had
so-
tape, I saw it on a tape, yeah,
Yeah,
crazy,
so,
yep.
well, she was 96, not that that makes any difference, because your mother hopefully is gonna be 101.
I know, who knows?
You never know.
She keeps
So.
saying, why am I still here? I'm like, I don't know. You're fine.
Is she well?
Yeah, well, she's 100. She's wearing out parts, but she's
Right.
fine, actually. She has physical therapy and occupational therapy 5 days a week and walks around, and she's got an enormous family who, drop in and call on her. So she can't
That's
hear or
great.
see very well. That's the big, really problem.
It
for
is,
her.
Yeah.
because she can't read anymore. So that was big for her. So yeah. But she's fine. We're having 75th birthday party for one of my sisters tonight. So
Oh,
she's
good.
fine. Fine. It's all fine. Somebody said summer's over. I said, yeah, right. Sometime soon. Oh, and my son let me know at 1 o'clock that he's on a boat and he'll be here for dinner. Oh, good. Thanks. You couldn't have told me this last night. But anyway, that's how it is.
We can adjourn this meeting and still keep the, and I can stop recording and we can still.
No, I'm done. I'm done. I've got to figure out what I have to do.
Go
before
get
Danny
dinner
gets
or order
here.
in.
Before
All right,
Danny gets here.
Somebody want to adjourn this meeting?
Yes, motion to adjourn.
I make that motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye, aye,
Aye.
aye.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks, everybody.
Have
Enjoy
a
the
great
rest of
September,
the
everybody.
Thank
summer.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
God bless.